guys, this is Maria. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing with you a few activities that you can do with two classical Montessori materials. One of them is brand new and that I recently purchased is movable alphabet, and the other one is colored beads. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am a mom of two. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. And in the current situation, I'm homeschooling them both. I also focus a lot on Montessori approach, and we do Montessori at home. I also do lots of hands-on materials, so if you're not necessarily into a Montessori approach, lots of the materials that I'll share with you today can be done just to supplement whatever preschool work you do with your children. I'm going to start with Montessori movable alphabet just because it is the new material that I have not previously shared in any of my videos. By the way, I film quite a few homeschool vlogs, so I have actually a whole playlist. Make sure to check it out. So Montessori movable alphabet is basically letters of the alphabet. It comes in several different packages. You can do uppercase letters, you can do lowercase letters, and you can do also cursive. If you work with your child on cursive, we are working currently with lowercase letters. Now, if you are homeschooling and you aren't yet in the stage of what kind of letters you start using, so typically with all of the tracing books, with all of the materials, you start with uppercase letters, and then when your child has a good knowledge of the letter sounds and letter names, you move on to lowercase letters, and after that you make sure that your child knows the correlation between uppercase letters and lowercase letters. That's a typical progression. Now, there is several different ways you could be using this specific material. The way I use it with my 3-year-old is we pick out one of the letters, and then we do the letter sound. I use it in many of my activities, even if it's just like phonetic work. What sound this letter make? B. And then we find a ball, and then we find a bug, and when we find multiple objects that start with that sound. I also have a few worksheets that came actually in the spring for the kids' school, and it was rhyming work and it was also beginning sound work. So when I do that work with him, I also introduce these letters. Again, this activity, these letters are really useful, and I originally did not want to purchase the material because I've already purchased so many things for the school year, and I tried to make do with what I have because I have a Melissa and Doug alphabet as well with my cards, but I did not have enough letters. So with all the activities we've been doing, I feel like it was a good purchase for me. Now, predominantly, I use this material with my daughter, who is in kindergarten this year, and we use it for word building exercises. So these are the flashcards for Montessori Read and Draw 1. It's the beginning reading for your children. It's basically add words. As an example, this is the word bat. Then I also have a letter cards that come, the word cards that your child reads the word and matches it with appropriate picture, and then we start building it out of the letters on the side, and then we transition into writing out that word. One of the things that I found very useful to have on hand is this dry erase board that is already lined. The back side of it is just a plain dry erase marker board, and this side is perfect for your kindergartners that are not just learning how to write, they are learning how to write in between the lines. This was a gift from our Gigi, which I'm very thankful to her for this. Now, so what I typically do, we lay out the cards, then we match up the words, and then we spell out the words. She finds the letters herself in the movable alphabet. That also helps you child to visualize the sequence of the letters because it is laid out. I find it very useful because, like, let's say we know the alphabet, we can see it, but then when it comes to visual representation of the whole alphabet, I feel like this is really helpful. Then another way you can use it, I will try to find the Red Draw 1 printables. I cannot share with you the ones that I have because mine come from the school, so I don't have any copyright rights to those printables, but I'll try to find something online. If I can't find, there is another way you can use the same materials. This is phonetic box number 1 from Montessori Resources. I've actually shared it with you in one of my other videos, but the principle is the same. This one just has actual objects versus having pictures, which works absolutely fine. So you have a cat here, and then you can find a card cat in here. let's see, here's the cat, and your child has to find it themselves because they have to be able to read all of the words on the cards, and they match the object to the word. Then they start spelling out the word, and then they start writing it out. So it works on several different things: visual matching, reading, writing, and spelling all at the same time. We typically do about 8 words at a time when we are building it up, reading it, and then writing it out. Now, moving on, another great activity to do with the letters from movable alphabet is also vowel sorting. Learning all of the sounds that vowels make. Vowels are a little bit more challenging for children than consonants because some of them sound very, very similar, and you really need to listen to how they sound out. So you can find the multiple objects or printed pictures from online to create this activity. For this, you will need the letters A, O, U, E, and I, and the sounds that you will be working on are a wide for letter A, O for letter O, A for letter U, E for letter E, and E for letter I. The next material and activities I wanted to share with you today is another iconic Montessori material, is the colored bead bars. And the reason why they are so important is because pretty much from the age of 4, your child in the classroom will be exposed to them. That's how they will be learning counting, addition, and many other things throughout their kindergarten years as well. The reason I like it, again, if you're not a Montessori person, you're just watching this video for homeschool ideas, is because it gives child a very visual representation of what 1 through 10 looks like. They're also color coded in a way that your child can understand and memorize, and it makes breaking down the numbers easier. So for example, you can put, this is 10, right? But then this and this will make 10 as well. And then the child can visually see that, well, okay, well, 9 and 1 makes 10 as well. Now there's a multitude of activities you can do with the colored bead bars. I've shared this set with you in my spring homeschooling videos, so I'm not going to spend much time on this one, but this is the one that you introduce to your child at about the age of 3. And this beads pretty much what Justin does with them. He lays out the numbers from 1 through 10 in the correct progression. He does it on his own, and then he puts 1 bead next to number 1, then 2 beads next to number 2, and so forth. Also, if he does need help, I help him count it. They are a perfect size for little hands to be able to touch every single bead so they don't get distracted as much. And then again, is the more your child uses it, the more they will be able to just glance at it and estimate the quantity, connect the estimation of quantity with the color. So it actually works on several different skills. Now with my 5-year-old, I use it predominantly with Montessori team board. I shared the team board in one of my spring videos as well, but as a refresher, if you're just tuning in into my channel, the team board is basically a way to teach your child build up the numbers from 11 up until 19, and then they also learn how to count by tens, which I will cover in this video as well. So basically you slide the numbers and you make 11, 12, 13, 14, and so forth. The process of making this team board, you will require you purchasing actually extra bead bars. And again, if you are planning to homeschool your child, it's a good investment. We actually got ours from school. So basically I have 10 bars of 10. And the reason I have it is because we are at the stage of us counting by tens to 100. But at first I will focus on the team board. So for team board, what you want to do with your child is, first of all, slide in all the numbers from 11 up till 19 into the spaces on the board. Then you will lay out the beads, and when you're laying them out, you speak to your child and you talk through the process of what's happening. Okay, how many bars, how many beads are here? 10. Right. What about here? 10. And when you lay out all 9 of them, Then you move on and you say, okay, now you have 10. You just put number 1 in here. How many beads do you need to add to make it number 11? And then your child will add 1. And then you go through this process all through number 19. It is a long work, and it takes a 5-year-old a good 30 minutes, I would say. Now, one of the things in the Montessori, you don't do activity just once. You actually do it several times. Eventually, your child should be able to do this activity on their own completely. And once you feel they've mastered it, you scramble it. And for example, you put in 13, 16, 18, and your child needs to put the correct number of beads just to make sure that your child actually grasps the concept. The reason I personally love this is because it honestly makes so much sense to explain the numbers this way, because, well, what is 15? It's 10 and 5. What an easy way to remember it, because 1 through 9 is exactly the same progression as 11 through 19. So breaking it down that way makes lots of sense to me. Now, the next activity that we do with the same bead bars on the screen, I will show you. We actually did it with chickpeas. So if you don't have the bead bars, no big deal, it still will work. So on a piece of paper, I had written out 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and so forth, all the way up until 100. And then Scarlett had to lay out 10 chickpeas under each of the 10s. And then if you use the bead bars, your child would just lay out the equivalent of 10 beads under each number. Once you go through this, you can put in, okay, so this is 10, and this is 20, and this is 30. How many is 3 10s? And there is a very visual representation of what 3 10s looks like. How much is 5 10s? How much is 10 10s? It's 100. So you give your child an ability to break down a very large number, 100, and visually see how many beads make up 100. I actually, when I did it with chickpeas, I did a fun exercise. I thought, and Scarlett enjoyed it as well. She has a grandma who's 101 years old. And I said, look, this is how many years your grandma has been around the sun. And look, and I put 5 chickpeas in my hand, and I was like, this is how many you've been. And she was like, whoa. And then we went through all family members and looked how many chickpeas or beads we all were around the sun. Video that I shared with you about homeschool during the fall, I kind of went over everything that we've done during that first week. The reason I didn't film the second week, because we still were working on a lot of the same materials. And honestly, again, you want to do all of those activities multiple times up until your child really gets it. And we've been really working hard on understanding of numbers from 11 to 19, being able to break them down. This was a printout from this readingmama.com. I will actually try to look it up online and find it for you if I will be able to. But basically what this was, it was working on representation of each of the numbers in multiple things. As an example, it was written 14, then it was number 14, then we had the cubes representing 14. So there was 10 cubes here and 4 here. So it was constantly breaking it down in multiple ways. And Scarlett did so well with it. And I think during this exercise, actually when it clicked, it totally clicked. Oh my gosh, so it's 10 and 4, and it's 10 and 5, and 10 and 6. And no matter what I use for it, it's the same concept. It was really helpful for us. One more thing I want to quickly cover in this video, even though it's not part of what it was supposed to, I just want to share with you. Another thing that we've been working on is the sight words. Sight words, and I actually did not know it, that it's the words that your child needs to be able to see and not decode, meaning they don't need to break it down, they just need to be able to spit it out right at you when you show it to them. So we've been working on these 8 words. N, U, of, to, a, is, in, and the. And we also have the primary phonic books that I've shared with you in my previous video, so go and check it out if you missed that one. And they actually have the same words in the beginning there, so it works great together as a lesson. I hope this video was helpful for you guys and gave you some ideas on how to either homeschool your children, supplement the homeschool, do some activities of Montessori at home for a bit older kids of the kindergarten age. A lot of these activities I actually do with both my children together, especially when it comes to like sound recognition and number work. So you can use some of those materials even at the age of 3.5, depending where your child is standing. If this is the kind of content you're looking for, subscribe to my channel, click that notifications bell, and I will see you later.